My name is Fahmi. There is an initiative in the state of Selangor called Smart Selangor. Some of you may not know where Selangor is. It's actually a small state within the peninsula of Malaysia. If you've ever been to Malaysia, when you land in Kuala Lumpur International Airport, that is actually Selangor. So it's quite big. It's 11 times the size of Singapore. It has a population of 6.3 million divided into 9 districts, 12 local authorities. It houses 3 main airports in the country and 1 container port, which is the 13th largest container port in the world. So what is the problem with Selangor? So in Selangor, we want to develop something called the smart state as a concept. It's a state and how that state operates together with the 12 local authorities. There are 12 at the moment. And within each local authority in Selangor at the moment, there are smart city initiatives. So the challenge that we have now in Selangor is how do we advance the concept of smart state and how do we advance the concept of smart cities within the smart cities itself? How do we make them smarter? What we believe the success to this will happen if we underline this development via 5 basic underlyings. So it would have to be based on good governance, concepts of sustainability, so looking at sustainable projects, sustainable business models, deploying some new technology and systems. We must make sure that it's very citizen-centric, so make sure that the citizens are informed and engaged at every level of decision making. And lastly is to try and embark on some global benchmarking to benchmark the success of our initiatives. Talk about citizen engagement. To date, we've done that many engagement. We've done physical engagements with people, citizens, as well as the various sub-agencies at the local authority level as well as the government level. And we've done a lot of social media engagements as well. So in doing so, we came up with 12 priority domains. These are the pain points that the citizens of Selangor had collectively decided. And these are the areas that we should focus in. So pretty common to any ASEAN country or any city in the world. So they share common problems like governance, so looking at better government service deliveries, looking at a much better digital infrastructure, so looking at people in the urban areas want higher internet connectivity and people in the rural area deserve to have some kind of minimal internet connectivity at affordable prices as well. Transport mobility, again looking at how do we decongest the traffic that we have in the state at the moment. Smart waste management, looking at new methods and how we can better manage the waste that is being generated by this growing population. Smart social support, looking at initiatives and how we can help the less fortunate in the state. Smart healthcare, looking at better healthcare in the state, education, water management, safety security, up until smart flood management. Flood is a big problem in Selangor and we're looking at better ways and how we can tackle that particular problem. And our hypothesis here is that if we solve these problems, we would definitely have a better quality of life for the citizens. So that is the whole point of doing Smart Selangor and Smart initiatives. So out of the 12 domains, we began in the year 2016. To date, we are focused on 4 domains. So I will talk about some of the initiatives that we've done or undertaken within each domain and how some of these have actually been scaled up throughout the state. So in terms of architectural concept, we have 4 layers here, whereby at the very bottom, these are the things that you see in the market. So we're looking at connectivity, we're looking at how do we transmit sensor data and store them in a data center, visualize that data through a command control center, and at the very top are users of the applications that we can develop and how all these applications are mounted onto what we call a smart application development platform. It's simple to look at, but it's very deep here because I think the way smart cities are being developed at the moment, all these verticals, all these use cases are being developed by the private sector. In doing so, the government could lose this valuable data and cross-utilization of data from the verticals. For example, if you have a company developing transport information and another company developing, say, citizen platform, the government wouldn't know what the citizen want and what is the transport problems that they have at the moment, because all these data reside in the private sector. So therefore, to solve another problem, what usually happens to the government is they sometimes are being requested to pay for that particular data that they've actually invested in developing all the applications. So by mounting all this, the Smart Selangor way, by having this integrated platform, all the data that runs through these verticals get to be seen and analyzed by the government, the rightful owner of the application platform, and hence we can use that to better write policies and other solutions that would solve the problems of the people. So I mentioned about Smart Selangor. We've been around for about 2 years now. So we have a few things that we can share with you. So the first part at the moment is there is a Smart Selangor Command Center in Shah Alam, capital of the state. And here there are two kinds of concepts that we've deployed for the command center. One is a pure command and control, whereby when you have an incident, we can mobilize the assets and all the authorities that are required to solve that particular problem. So we have the disaster management unit in the state housed within the command center, and they can call up the police force, the military, or even the fire brigade in the event of any disaster in the state at the moment. So they occupy half of the office. The other half are essentially the Smart Selangor Delivery Unit, where we actually monitor the softer side of the implementation of Smart Selangor. The good thing is, every sensor that the state has invested in, all the data from that can be seen through a central command. So it's easier for the commanders to make decisions when it comes to disasters or even city planning to that effect. As an example, in terms of disaster management, the Disaster Management Unit has been successfully deployed this particular technology and in solving the problem of forest fires. So recently in August, there was a big, I think this is about 40 acres of reserve forest that caught fire, and they had to operate from a central command. So through drones and through having an eye in the sky, as well as looking at satellite imagery, they were better able to manage the containment of this particular incident. The other one is looking at the pollution as well as the illegal waste dumping into our rivers. This is only possible now when we have an eye in the sky and we have the ability to coordinate the information that we get real time to the relevant authorities to conduct the necessary action. The other initiative that we've deployed also is to look at deploying real-time sensors in the state. At the moment, the federal government installs air quality measures using PM10. So this is looking at particulate measure 10, but that data actually comes out every hourly. So in the state, what we've done is we deployed these particular sensors, which we got from Taipei City, and we've got around 10 at the moment. We plan to install 100 of this, and we can get real-time measurement of the particulate air pollutant that is in the air for the last 24 hours. So we get tracks on the pollutant levels, temperature and humidity. And what we're trying to do is trying to look at what is actually causing the peak of the pollution in a particular day. This is very useful because at this moment in time, the state of Selangor also hands out this, it's called the Scheme Peduli Sehat, whereby it's a fixed amount of money that is given to B40 households, and they can spend these at panel clinics to look at primary healthcare. So if we can have a plot of the kinds of treatments that people are going for and what is causing them to go on such treatments. So for example, people come up with a lot of cough and a lot of flu, right? And we can juxtapose that data against, say, what is the air quality in that particular area at that particular time? So that allows you to make judgments on the causes of that particular thing, or that particular incident. So you can better contain and you can better also distribute the kinds of medication that's required for that particular area for quarantine, as well as the health of the people. So this will actually be made public. At the very least, we hope that Selangorians will use this data as a guide when they should go out of the house and have some outdoor activities at the very least. Yeah. So we plan to roll out about 100 of these sensors. The other one that's ongoing in Selangor at the moment, when people talk about Smart Selangor, the only thing the rural folks recognize with is the Smart Selangor bus. There are 100 buses in the state now, and Smart Selangor bus. These buses are free, so you can hop on, use it. It's air conditioned. It has Wi-Fi on it. It has attracted a lot of users. School children don't go to school. They prefer to sit on the buses because they have free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, and even foreign workers as well. They prefer to go on these buses good connectivity, air condition. I can watch Bollywood movies uninterrupted on the bus. Yeah. So we've smartened up this particular service by deploying an app that tells the user the arrival times of these buses at the bus stops. So for the first time ever, the state can now look at the locations of these buses that we've paid for. So we know who's actually working on the route, who's out of the route. These are being monitored real time. We know the locations of the bus stops, these orange plots here, and we know the utilization of the bus stops. How many times that bus actually stops at the bus stop. This one gives you an indication of the arrival times of the bus at the bus stop. So you as a user, you don't have to wait at the bus stop and the bus never comes. Yeah? So that we are beyond that problem. We are also in discussions with an e-hailing provider like Uber, like Grab, where they're trying to integrate their offerings and services on top of this particular bus app. So imagining you're on this bus, you will be arriving at the next bus stop in the next 10 minutes, and you know that you need to get a car from the next bus stop to your destination. You can book them all in one app, and that's going to happen very, very soon. The other thing that we're good at is we've deployed about 3,200 access points, free Wi-Fi to the rural areas in Selangor. These are some of the statistics, and by the end of this year, we're committed to have about 4,200 APs to try and give more coverage and connection to the people of Selangor. This one is particularly interesting. We embarked on this initiative for smart pothole repairs. What we've done here is essentially we've collaborated with Waze, the traffic owner, the traffic app provider, and in Selangor itself there are about 2.5 million Waze users. So they use Waze application to get information on traffic, but at the same time it allows the user to also report the locations of potholes. When that happens, the smart thing that we've done here is we've taken off the burden of searching for the locations of potholes from the enforcement officers, which are not very many in the state, and we've shifted that to 2.5 million Waze users in the state. Okay? So they can come and report 24/7, doesn't matter. We develop a middleware system that actually scrapes from the Waze server, points out the locations, and then chucks that information directly to the officers who are supposed to patch the holes themselves. Okay? So we can have a plot here of the locations of the patch potholes, and they appear in urban areas, very, very city-like, very, very condensed and packed areas like Petaling Jaya and Kajang. And the good thing about this, when we roll out in February to date, what we can see is that the local authorities who've come on board this particular program have improved. So these numbers here are essentially the efficiencies of pothole patching that they do. And you see the numbers have actually gone up. So take the top one, MBSA, when they began in February, they're only about 16%. When we got to September, they're about 40%, 39.3%. So the not so good ones like MBSA or even Kajang, if MPKJ, you take this one, they began at 9% and a few months later they're at 35%. So they got better. But the good news here is even the good ones, you take MPAJ that started at 95% efficiency, by about June they're about 97%. So the message here is simple. The good ones got better with the assistance of technology, and the not so good ones did get better as well. So this is now in fully deployed in the state of Selangor. So if you're a Waze user, great. The other success story that we want to share is on smart waste management. For the first time in 2016, the state had consciously decided that we need to upgrade our collection fleet. This is done and executed through our subsidiary company, KDB Waste Management, where there is a new financing model for these assets. At the same time, these lorries are connected with trackers and systems that would allow us to monitor their performance locally through a central command center. So we get plots like this on the dashboard that we develop. These are the trucks and the situation of the trucks. So the green ones are usually idling and moving. The black ones are the ones with engine off. So we know who's working, who's not. Yeah? And this is a map of the zones of collections, and we can juxtapose the location of the lorries as well as the complaints that are being made and received from the residents within each collection zone. So the cool thing here to me, if you look at this in the future, we can perhaps do an Uber-like service for waste. Imagine if the complaints are highly situated around here, You look at the next available lorry, the nearby lorries, you can dispatch that lorry to go to that area and clear it off. So, what is the impact of smart waste management? Don't take it from me. This comes from the main newspaper in the country. This is in one particular area that we've operated in. Fewer complaints on garbage. The performance to date, we are in 3 local authorities out of the 12. All 3 are showing 97-98% reduction in the number of complaints 4 months after operation. And the drop is exponential. And this is through the implementation of smart waste management in the state of Selangor. The other aspect of this implementation is that we deployed a citizen app that allows the citizen to load up complaints, the location of the complaints through the GPS coordinates of those, as well as upload a photo of the actual site. And what we've seen is KDB Waste have been given an SLA that any complaints they receive must be attended to and completed within 24 hours. So it's like magic. You know, you have this kind of situation. If you report through this, 24 hours later, it becomes like this. Yeah. The other one is also like, these are some of the low-cost areas that is in the state, or that was in the state. You look at how people were piling rubbish by the side of the road. But with the help of this app, it becomes easier for KDB Waste to come in, identify the spot, clear it, and then even put nice bins there for the convenience of the users. Yeah. What we're trying to do now as well is we can begin to develop, based on the collection data that we got, we developed this kind of surface. This is one local authority in the state. These are the number of collection zones. So there's 44 collection zones within that local authority. The new data that we have tends to suggest that if you look into the slide, right? If you look into the slide, you can see that there's actually a seasonal variation to the waste generation within a particular zone. Yeah. Sometimes it's quite high, and in some months it gets even higher. The state has never had this kind of insight, the fact that they only give fixed value contracts to the contractors. So if I'm deployed to do zone 44 and I'm contracted to be paid 23,000 a month, I will be paid 23,000 a month for every month in the year. So my income is fixed, but you can see from this data that it suggests that if I was a waste collector, there's certain months I got to collect more. Certain months I collect less. So that gives us an opportunity to look at how do we redefine that collection contract. Can we make it a bit more dynamic and a bit more useful for the collection contractors? Yeah. When we deployed smart waste management in Klang, this is something I've got to share with you. We've suddenly realized that the residents in the housing estate, so these are the housing estates, these are the resident association here. What they've done is they've come up with this particular application. They actually collect the recyclables within each area. So you take an area like this, they are competing amongst themselves to try and tell how much recyclables that they've collected and what is the composition of the recyclables. And this has started a few months after we began to take over one particular municipality called Klang. And all we've done there is we've upgraded new lorries, we've given them free bins at home. Suddenly there is a realization from the residents that we've got to do recycling. And we've got to do it in a big and impactful way. So the residents themselves began this particular application, and this will win them a Green Apple Award. And I think they're going to London or Dubai next year to collect that particular award. What we're trying to do at the KDEB level, at the company level, can we have a centralized area that collects all of this, and perhaps looking at how we can enable the households to monetize the waste that they're throwing away at the moment? Because somewhat, you know, there's money in all these things, right? So if we do it in a centralized way, we can do that better. The last application that I'll talk about is the citizen engagement app. It's quite challenging to develop this particular application. Thinking ahead, it could be used by the 6.3 million Selangorians. So it's quite a big technical challenge for us. How do we develop this particular application, make sure that it can be used by 6 million people? So this is one of the benefits, that in developing this, we've gone to the cloud. And we've used cloud technology to make sure that this application is suitable for that particular purpose. So you download this app, you fill in your details, and you can access this particular, these things here. So As a state, I can push through news and events of my functions in the state. I can run surveys on the citizens, and I can even provide a chatbot functionality for citizens to learn a thing or two, and they can always upload their ideas and share their ideas to the government. So this is the window that links the citizens and the government. And from the information that's gathered, me as a government, we know exactly the sentiments of people living in a particular area and what their likes or what their dislikes. So, and we can do that on a real-time basis, right? So this application is now ready. We're trying to leverage this on top of our free Wi-Fi users. At the moment, the state has about 700,000 registered users on the free Wi-Fi. So we just need to open this channel up to them. And I think we can work together with the citizens in terms of ideation and idea creation. Okay? So we've only been around for 2 years at the moment. We've rolled out a few initiatives, and I must say that the success of our deployment rests entirely on the people. This idea of empowering people with technology through applications, this idea of collaborating with the different portions of the government, the different layers of local authorities, and the different layers of citizens at the bottom with a different demographic. Okay, so technology for us, we've provided technology as a means to empower them so that they can collaborate with us, and with that particular tool, they can help us to assist for us to solve their particular problems. So yes, so thank you very much for your attention. That is Smart Selangor. Thank you.